going to be showing you our HYBR platform that's available to our customers as a way to self-service their requests on some of the environment that they host with us. Hi, Kevin. How are you doing?
Hi, Dave. All right, and you? Great to be able to demo this product to everyone today.
Great. So I think the reasoning behind this is we're trying to automate some of our processes and trying to give our customers the ability to self-service themselves and to increase storage and buy licenses themselves. And really what we wanted to do is showcase this platform and share it as a video that people can watch in their own time to learn how to use this application. And what we're finding at the moment with cloud is some applications will remain on premises and some will move into private cloud, be it the FirstNet data center, and some will move into public cloud. And what we're using this platform for is a way to self-manage the costs on all of these different clouds. So Kevin, let's just talk around the first menu option you've got there, which is Marketplace. Tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, Dave. Okay, so the Marketplace is a way of buying Microsoft CSP products, as well as we have offers available on the IS platform that you can purchase using a one-click install. So what you see on the first page here is cloud services, which is anything that's available in the Microsoft CSP library. So from here, I get full visibility of all the CSP licenses available to me. I get a list of the product, the cost of the product. From here, I can click on the purchase button. If I'm looking for a specific product, like say I want to find an Office E5 trial to add to my CSP tenant, so I can trial that product. I enter the product name here, and it gives me a full list of what's available. You see, I've got my E5 trials here, and then I can just click on purchase, enter the quantity I require. For all trials, you're limited to 25, so anything between 1 and 25 is what I could do for the trials, but any of the other licenses, you can purchase whatever quantity you require. So enter my quantity I require. It tells me what the unit cost is and what the total cost will be. And then just hit the check mark here, and it'll go and buy that product for me and add it to my available licenses that I can use. Secondly, we have an Offers tab up here, and this allows us to actually do one-click installs of various services that we have within the FirstNet infrastructure as a service platform. So I've got two examples here. The first would be we have a YayStar PBX, where this would deploy the various components that are required. So a couple of servers that are required for the YayStar Cloud PBX platform to run. I could click into the product. It would give me the sizes and the costs of the different SKUs that I have available to me. So you can see we've got small, medium, large, the costs, and then in this instance, this will be based on the number of extensions that you need to deploy within your Cloud PBX. If you wanted to purchase a product, you'd say get it, select which SKU you require, the subscription you're going to deploy it to, and then just hit the check mark. And that would go off and deploy the required servers, configure them, and get them set up for you so that you're up and running quickly. All right, and similarly if I needed a WordPress server, same kind of thing. I could see the costs, what it's the different sizes that are available for those different SKUs, and I could purchase the product directly from here. It just saves you the hassle of having to go and manually go and deploy each different server with all the different services you require, and everything is just one click and it's installed for you and ready to go. All right, so the second thing, if we can just go through the rest of the product, let's just head on over to the home page, which is your main page where you'd land on when you first log into HYBR. From here, we can see basic details of what we have available in our HYBR subscription. Okay, so you were mentioning we do IaaS, we do CSP licensing. We can also do integrations with AWS and Azure, as well as Azure Stack. So from this dashboard, I can see, okay, I've got 2 virtual machines that are deployed. It's going to give me the current cost, monthly cost, the estimated cost that this is going to cost me, and last month's cost. I also get a billing history, which gives me a breakdown of in this case, I have CSP licenses, so my Office 365 licenses, as well as infrastructure as a service, which is my private cloud in this instance. And if I hover over that, I can see what my costs trend is over the last year, same as my CSP. I also get a wheel of the current costs for each product for the month, so I can get a quick overview of what my CSP costs me, what my infrastructure as a service is costing me. All right, and also further down, if we scroll further down, we can see a breakdown of the CSP costs. So within each CSP, you obviously have many different licenses that you might have purchased, and from here I can get a breakdown of those costs. So my Exchange Plan 1 is costing me this much. It's 83% of the total cost of my CSP. All right, so from there, let's just hop on over to one of the other, actually managing the CSP portion of that and my various cloud services and licenses. So I would hop across to cloud services. And this will give me a list of all the CSP licenses I've purchased for my tenant. Okay, so I get a list of all the licenses that are purchased, as well as the quantity of the licenses that I've purchased for each license. From here, I can also add on additional licenses. So if I need more business premium licenses, I could click on the update subscription button here, and I can change the quantity. So I need an additional 2 licenses. It here now tells you what the unit cost is, what the new cost is per month. It tells you, okay, it's going to be adding 2 new licenses. And I'd hit the check mark, and it would go and purchase those directly from the Microsoft CSP. Via FirstNet, and then add that to your subscription, and you're able to then go and assign those licenses to your different users.
Okay, that seems quite a lot easier than sort of logging a support ticket and getting a quote and a PO approved and that whole process that can sometimes follow legacy business systems. This is a nice, quick and easy way of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it really makes it a lot easier. All right, so say we need to also, the various CSP licenses also have add-ins. So you can do like audio conferencing and that kind of thing can be added on to an existing license. So if I actually click on the license, HYBR is actually going to go and pull all the add-ons that are available for that license. All of these are pulled live from the Microsoft CSP portal. So anything that gets added, removed, any updates that they make to the various add-ons for each license are reflected live. So any changes happen instantly here. So here we go. So say I needed a phone system license for my Office E3. It shows me that's available. Same with audio conferencing, that kind of thing. And from here, I can click on subscribe to that add-on. And very similar to the first screen, when I can just manage the quantity for the initial license, I can go and say, okay, well, I need 10 phone system licenses, and it's going to give me the unit cost and the total cost per month. And then it'll go and add that on to my E3 license, and I can then go and assign that to my users. All right. So let's just hop on over to the licenses tab here. Okay, so this is going to give us a view of the licenses that we have in our CSP tenant. So the same kind of thing, but you've got the total licenses shown for each product. But it also gives you how many you've actually assigned. So in this case, I've got 9 total licenses, but I've actually only consuming 8. So I've actually got 1 available, which, I mean, I might have forgotten to assign someone a license, and I can also, I mean, if I need to reduce the number of licenses, but I'm not using it, I can see it from here. And then from here, I can very easily assign that license. So I click on assign license, go and select a user, and then just click on assign license directly from HYBR's portal here.
And I think traditionally what guys have done is they've kept a couple of spare licenses because sometimes the process and ordering licenses can take a while. But with a self-service facility, there's no need to keep those spare licenses. Rather save that money monthly and only buy as and when you need it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just add it on as and when required. Yeah. All right, so if we just have a look at the users tab here, this is going to give us a list of the users that we have in our CSP tenant. Okay, and if I actually click on a user, that we can be able to see what licenses I have assigned to that user, and then I can obviously assign different licenses, revoke the license that I don't need on this user anymore, and very simply with a couple of clicks here. Okay, so you can see for this user, I've got an Exchange Online plan, and I can remove that license or assign a different one if I need to. Okay, another nice feature from the users tab here is that I can actually edit specific user details for this user. So I can change the display name, first name, last name, their email, alias, and I can also reset the password directly for this user from within in HYBR, which is another great self-service feature. So you don't have to log into the Office portal to actually make a few simple changes like that.
Great. I know that you're going to be talking about rights management a bit later on, but maybe before we do, and while we're on the screen, one of the things I've picked up with a few of my customers is when I actually pull the data and go through it with them, I often find there's a couple of employees that might have left. So I think maybe when we come back to user rights, let's talk around how we can give rights to HR, for example, to see a list of names of people there, and they can do an audit to make sure that those people with licenses are actually still employed there.
Yeah, sure. Okay, well let's hop on over to let's go and have a look at that now. So HYBR works on a subscription model. So your subscription has a quota assigned to it for things like your infrastructure as a service, and it also allows you to configure the rights. So as you were saying, if you need your HR department to be able to just view these users and not make any changes to that, we can do that. All right, so let me just hop on over to my account and we'll go to subscriptions here. And in this tenant, I've currently got a private cloud subscription, my CSP, and my public cloud. So my public cloud would be my AWS Azure. My private cloud would be any FirstNet IaaS resources, and my CSP is obviously my cloud services, my Office 365 stuff. All right, so if I actually click on this subscription, it's going to give me a quick overview of what costs are involved for this subscription. And then there's also a users tab here. Okay, so from the users tab, we can then go and allocate and add users in here that have access to the subscription. So when they log into HYBR, they'll be able to see the subscription. And we have 3 different roles we can assign them. Okay, so we can assign them an owner role, a contributor role, or a read-only role. The owner role has the ability to go and purchase items, say from the marketplace. If you need to add additional licenses to your CSP, your owner role can do that. Your contributor loses that privilege, but is allowed to manage those servers and users. Okay, so they can go and assign licenses, edit the user's details, etc. And then read-only can obviously see what is available in HYBR for your cloud services. If we made a read-only cloud services user, so they could go and see what users are there, what licenses are assigned, but they can't make any changes to it. So that would facilitate that HR requirement you mentioned, Dave.
So maybe just talk us through, let's say a customer uses a managed service provider, a third party outside of FirstNet and the customer to manage their VMs for them and keep them up to date. Could you give a different email alias, a support company's email address, the rights to manage your
absolutely, tenant? Yeah. So that makes so if I go into my private cloud, so let's just hop on over to our private cloud, which is our servers that we have in our infrastructure as a service. So this gives you a slightly different view, obviously, because it's a different product. So it'll give you your bill for the month. It'll also tell you what resources you're consuming. So in IaaS, you generally have a list of the number of virtual machines, the number of CPU cores, memory and disk, networks and backup. And you can see your quota that's available and what you're consuming. So talking about third parties and remote management, so the same kind of thing. So in our private cloud subscription, we go to the users and again, add a user that has contributor or read-only roles. So your remote managed services guys, you would assign a contributor role so that they could make changes and manage those servers for you, but not be able to purchase any additional service into your subscription without your knowledge.
Gotcha.
So that's how you would handle that. Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's actually, while we're on the infrastructure service, let's actually go to the infrastructure service portion of HYBR and actually see how we manage that. So that would be under the vConnect tab here. Let's hop on there. All right. So the first view you get is a view of all your virtual machines that are currently configured and set up. So this would be anything that's in your private cloud, your public cloud, anything to do with virtual machines will be listed here. Okay. So from here, we can see we've got 2 virtual machines. We can see which subscription they're in. In this case, they're both in the private cloud. We can see what connection they're using, the resource group. The connection is, I'll show you this in a minute, is at FirstNet we have multiple data centers. So you can select which data center to deploy these resources in, and that's what the connection is. So this will be in the Durban 2 stack that's in the Durban data center. Okay, you can also see the current resources configured in terms of memory and CPU, and things, is the VM running, not running, that kind of thing. All right, okay, so if we just actually click into a machine here, what we can see from here is we can see what operating system is being deployed, what the size of the VM is, the IP address, if it's running. As I mentioned before, you can see the number of cores, how many are used for your total subscription, and then the quota for the entire subscription. Same for memory and disk. All right, we have a couple of options up here. So if we click on connect, that'll allow us to make an RDP connection. So it'll drop a little RDP file on our desktop, which we can click on and then use the normal Microsoft Remote Desktop to actually log into the server. We have to be on the same network to be able to do that. If the server for some reason is broken, so it can't boot, it's not connected to the network, what we can do is a great feature is actually open it in a web browser. So if I do this, this will actually make a console connection to the server. All right, so even if the server is completely dead or it's blue screening every time it reboots, you can click on the cons and see what's actually going on, which is a great troubleshooting method that you can use from a HYBR. And then we have there's some other options. So we can power off the server, reboot it, shut it down, reset it if there's an issue directly from here. So without having to log into the server to manage those functions. All right, let's just click on the configure tab. This is where we actually make changes to the server. So the changes will need to be made while the server is powered off. Okay. So the operations we can do from here is we can add a disk, attach a network, delete a disk, detach the network, mount ISO files if we need to, and expand the different disks that we have on here. Say, for instance, I needed an extra 100 gig on my data disk. I can select the disk I need and increase the size, make it 350. All right, and then hit apply. On this page, you can also see what network it's actually connected to and the size of the disks that are actually deployed here. Also, you'll be able to make changes to the actual size of the server. So currently this is configured for 2 cores and 4 gig of RAM. When you shut the machine down, you'll be able to obviously change this to whatever you want. Okay. Thirdly, we've got a little snapshots tab here. So the snapshot allows you to actually create a snapshot of the virtual machine. Say you need to install some Windows updates or apply a new patch for a piece of software you have running on the server. You could do that from here. So you would make a snapshot of the server before you make any of those changes. So from here, you would click on Create Snapshot, do your changes. If there is an issue and you need to revert, click on the revert button. It will take you back before any changes are made, and you can continue as normal. If this update was successful and you need to just carry on using the machine, click on Remove all the snapshots to get rid of that snapshot. All right, so let me just hop on back to the dashboard and show you how to actually create a virtual machine. So let's hit the Create Virtual Machine option here. All right, so firstly, we'd select what subscription we want to create the virtual machine in. Okay, so we could go private cloud, or if you want to do something in Azure or AWS, we click on public cloud. I'm going to select private cloud for now. And this is where I was mentioning where you can see the connection, which is the different data centers that FirstNet offers. So I'm going to put it into Durban 2, which is where we currently have these virtual machines. I would then go and select the operating system I need to install. Okay, so we provide a range of operating systems, or the most popular ones that are available. Okay, so I'm going to select a Windows 2019 server. Click on Next. I can give it the server a name. Right, I can then select the size of the server. Okay, so we've got a whole list of predefined sizes that we have here. And I can also select custom. So if none of those sizes suit me, I can then go and enter in whatever I need. So I need 4 cores and 4 gig of RAM. Okay, so I can enter that in there. And what you see is nice here is actually updating the costs of this VM per month in real time. So any changes I make here to the size, the cost is reflected there. All right, so let's just go forward. We'd select the network we want to connect it to. enter our administrator credentials. Okay, and it'll give us a summary of what's going to be deployed. So the name of the VM, the operating system, the size, and the cost per month. Okay, and I've hit the check mark, off it'll go and deploy that server. All right, so that's how you create a virtual machine. I'm just going to show you, you'll notice that these virtual machines also have what's called a resource group assignment, and this is another way of doing access control. So you can do access control on the subscription, so the entire private cloud subscription. So if you give your managed services team access to the subscription, they can see all the virtual machines that are deployed within that subscription. But you can also be more granular than that. So under the resource groups, you've got a similar kind of functionality. So we could create a resource group under our private cloud subscription, say remote managed services. Okay. And then we go into that group and actually assign roles. Okay, so similar to where we were on the subscriptions, where we can assign a contributor, read-only, and owner roles, we can do exactly the same for the resource groups. Okay, so once we've done that for the resource group, we can then go back to our virtual machine and actually place it within that resource group. And anyone that's in that resource group will only be able to see those virtual machines that are in that resource group. They won't be able to see any of the others. Okay, so it's another way of being more granular with your access control.
So you could stop your desktop techs working on servers, for example. Is that, am I
Yeah,
understanding that right?
if you've got an HR IT admin, you only want them to see the HR servers. You don't want to see the the dev or the other admin servers that are around. Yeah. So yeah. All right. Okay. Just quickly for smaller companies, what we have is also an option in the Hyper-V network virtualization stack is we can actually create what's called virtual networks. So virtual networks don't require any kind of physical LAN connectivity between your on-prem site and the FirstNet data center. They allow you to just do some basic firewalling as well as site-to-site VPNs. Okay, so I can create a virtual network, connect my server to it. In defining my virtual network, I tell it, okay, well, this is my IP range that I want to apply. You can enable an external IP address for that virtual network. Okay, so we've got an external IP assigned here. And then what we can do is it can do basic NATing. Okay, so if I go to rules here, I can add a rule. So if I want to NAT in HTTP traffic to my server, I'd select the public IP address that's assigned and fill in my details of which server I wanted to send that traffic to. Okay. All right, and I hit the check mark and off it'll go and create that inbound NAT rule. All right. I can also do site-to-site VPN. Okay, so if I've got a firewall at my on-prem site that supports IPsec, it's a very common VPN protocol. I can create a VPN here, give it a name, give it the IP address of the my firewall's IP address, and enter a shared key here. I can specify a bandwidth limit if I need to for incoming and outgoing bandwidth, and actually create a site-to-site VPN between your hosted server that's hosted in FirstNet and your on-premise network. And that eliminates the need to have any dedicated layer 2 circuits into FirstNet if it's a smaller business. Okay, so that's the virtualized networking section of there. All right, so let's just, now we've got virtual machines in our infrastructure. How do I back those up? I mean, if I have a disaster or if I lose some files or my machine's dead and I need to recover it, how do I do that? And we provide this via the backups option. Okay, so from the backups, we can then go and create backup schedule. Okay, so I've got a predefined backup schedule here. Let me just edit that so we can see what options we have. Okay, all right, so I give the schedule a name. I can then go specify when I want to run this backup. So in this case, it's running daily. I can select the time that I want to run this backup. I can make weekly backups, select a day of the week. I can also do a monthly backup. So first, second, third, last week of day of the month. In this case, I'm going to leave it on daily. I then set the number of retention points I need. So if I needed 30 days, I could go into 30 days. I want to keep 30 days with the backups. I can select the type of backup. So whether it's reverse incremental, I can create synthetic full backups. Normally you create synthetic full backups on a weekend, so a Monday or Saturday, but you can specify any day that you need to create those on if you need to. I can do active full backups on a specific day of the month, or on a weekly basis. Okay. And then if I hit the next button here, I can actually go and select which VMs I want to back up. So I can have multiple backup jobs backing up different virtual machines at different schedules. Okay, so I just go and select that checkbox, hit the checkbox, and create my backup schedule. Okay. Once that's configured and set up, it'll obviously run as per the schedule. You can also just kick off a backup if you just want to run it right now. So I need to do an update. I want to make sure I've got a backup before I do the update. I can hit run and let it run the backup for me. Okay. Under restore points here, this lists all the backups, my previous backups that have been made. Okay. And what type they are, whether they're full or incremental. And from here, I can do a restore of that virtual machine to this point in time if I need to recover anything on those virtual machines. All right. So that's the backups there. It's a really, really helpful feature. Okay, so let's just hop on over to the billing now to get an overview of our billing here. Okay, so this is where I'd see a lot of the stuff I saw on the actual homepage, where I can see what my billing for the month is and my historical data. But there's also some extra data here we can configure. All right. Okay. So for each subscription that I have in this this customer, I can see what my total cost is going to be, what my billable cost is, and again, I can get a breakdown of my different subscriptions. So again, I can see my CSP, my private cloud billing. Again, I get the historical data for each of these products, and then I've also got historical data, so I can go back and see what my previous month or previous 6 months. Okay. I just go and select that and get the same kind of data back. All right, if I just hop on over to the history tab here, this is going to give me a little bit more detailed options if you're using any kind of business intelligence tools like Power BI. You can download for instance, the usage meter for my private cloud. This will open it in a CSV file, okay, which you could then use this to have a look at what each component of your private cloud is costing you. So this will give you a breakdown per VM of exactly CPU, memory, and disk on a per day basis. And then you can obviously use that for your business intelligence applications. All right. Next, let's just hop on over to the notifications. Now, obviously, I'm incurring costs here, and I need to know do I need to set up any limits? Do I have a budget for the month? And this is where we would configure this under the notifications. All right.
I think that's quite key, because I know one of the fear factors around moving to cloud computing is that they don't know what it's going to cost them. And I think there's this fear factor out there that it could end up costing double or triple what they had originally planned. So I think setting alerts and notifications is probably a key way to eliminate that fear.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Okay, and it's very easy in HYBR. We would come over to the notifications, click on configure, and then we can actually add a rule in here. Okay, so we'd select the subscription. So I want my private cloud. I'd give the notification a name. All right, enter the email addresses of the people I need to notify. Okay, and then I can say usage exceeds, and let's say 10,000 Rand. Okay. Hit the check marks, and if the usage exceeds that, I'll get a notification to let me know that that's something's I need to take action on that. I can also specify a budget. So again, if I have a 10,000 Rand budget for the month, I can say notify me at 80% of that budget. And that's a great way of getting notifications on what's happening without getting any surprise bills at the end of the month. All right. Okay, and those are most of the features right now in HYBR.
So maybe just talk to me a bit more about private cloud being on-prem. So Some applications will remain on site. They're not suitable to be moved to cloud. Is there a way that we can manage the cost of a traditional physical server on site through our HYBR platform?
Yes, absolutely. So HYBR can manage your on-prem environment, whether that's Hyper-V or VMware. We would create a separate subscription for that. So your on-premise would fall under a different subscription, but everything you'll be able to manage from the vConnect pane. It would be make a separate agent connection to your vCenter or your VMM server. And then all those VMs would then show up here in this vConnect dashboard, and you'll be able to manage them directly from here. Same as what you do if this was on AWS, Azure, or on the FirstNet infrastructure as a service. Yeah.
So could you build your own costing model into that if you wanted to, say, bill out an HR department for a predetermined amount of your resources?
Absolutely. So yes, that is something we would help you get it configured for you based on your requirements. So each subscription is obviously has a costing model based on the CPU, memory, and disk. And you could configure those pricing profiles individually, say per department. Yeah, absolutely.
Great. So HYBR could be used to manage all your cloud, your CSP costings, as well as your on-prem cost of that CapEx that you've invested in.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, so I see this. I think some people prefer that human touch and want to phone in and speak to somebody or log a ticket with a tech. But for those that like to work at 2:00 in the morning, it might be quite useful to have a self-service platform to get things done at your own time.
Yeah, it's a great platform for that kind of scenario. Absolutely.
So how much does this cost, Kevin? I mean, there's quite a lot of features here. What does it cost to FirstNet clients?
So the HYBR platform itself and the entire management of it is entirely free. So if you sign up with any of the CSP or IaaS services with FirstNet, you get HYBR packaged in that product. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Perfect. Well, thanks very much, Kevin. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. I think we've covered most of the important points, Dave.
Great. Well, if there's any questions, you can just reach out to us. Thanks very much, Kevin. Thanks for the demo.
All right. Thanks for joining. All right. Cheers.